Hey everybody, want to take a moment and thank you for tuning in once again to the Legacy Lifestyle Podcast. We've got a special edition for you today. This is a Legacy Spotlight. This is something I have wanted to put together for some time and hopefully more of these things in the future. Legacy Spotlight is about spotlighting people who are leaving legacies. And this week's episode features Mark and Steff Geist, who are good friends of mine, have been for years, as you'll hear in the podcast. But they volunteer with an organization called Royal Family Kids. And if you've not heard of Royal Family Kids, this is an amazing organization, international ministry that reaches out to abused and neglected kids and gives them just an incredible camp experience. So I'd love it if you check out this podcast. And Mark and Steff are just great characters. We have a good time, laugh a lot. And you'll hear from them and their heart and how this is not what they saw for their future years ago, but they've been involved ever since. And Mark talks about some things that he wanted to do on his honeymoon, and no, it's probably not what you think. So how's that for a little teaser? Check out the episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Legacy Lifestyle Podcast. This is a special edition. Notice these two people in purple here, and we're going to get to that here in a second. This is Mark and Steff Geist. Say hello.
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 How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
I'm living the dream.
Living the dream. You were holding on to that for a little bit. Yeah. So here's the deal. We've kind of put you through the ringer here, Mark, Steff. You guys have shared two services here where, you know, probably ready for some food. I know it's the lunch hour and stuff, but you're being great sports.
We could do without for a little bit. We're fine.
Okay.
We're okay.
Well, the reason why I'm having Mark and Steff here is to talk about the Royal Family Kids Camp. So if you're listening to us and you've never heard this, or maybe you've heard about this a little bit, Mark and Steff are going to talk about their roles and kind of how their involvement and stuff. But of course, we were just talking we kind of go back a ways.
Yeah, we do.
High school?
You know,
Middle school.
Yeah. Oh,
Middle school.
Absolutely.
100%.
I don't like that look in your eye, Mark.
Yeah, we're so old.
Well, I was thinking more like, oh, great, you're going to share some stories.
Oh, no.
You got any dirt or anything?
It's 3 decades ago. I don't remember things.
Okay.
It's so long ago.
No.
You're good.
I don't remember. How long have you and Jesse been dating together?
Together since, 2000, I think we started dating.
Because you met her in college.
Well, I wasn't really in college. I was on the road being a rock star.
That's right.
Yeah.
I do remember the rock star days, guys. Those I remember. I have that poster in your office.
Yes.
Standing Stones.
Yes.
I have that poster.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, Kris was one of the founding members of Standing Stones and then later after the Order.
That's right.
So famous.
I still have yet to get Luke on this podcast, but he's coming.
What?
One day we're going to get him. Yeah, we're going to get him.
Luke Mills, I've run into him so many times. Seriously, out and about, I'm like, oh, hey, Luke. He's like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Have you gotten Dustin on this podcast?
Oh, yeah. I don't think so. I don't think Dustin's going to.
Does he say words?
Yeah, right.
He's one of the quietest men I've ever met. Cool guy. Insanely cool guy.
Absolutely.
So quiet.
But that's a perfect bass player right there. There's just meant a few words.
Just be quiet and just play, man.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. Good job.
Well, anyway, like I said, we're here to talk about Royal Family Kids Camp. And so I don't know who wants to take the lead here, but explain to us.
I will let Stephanie take the lead.
What is Royal Family Kids Camp?
Royal Family Kids Camp is a camp for abused, neglected children that are in and out of the foster care system between the ages of 6 and 11.
Okay.
So sometimes they are in a bio parent's care, or they're in the system, or they're with a grandparent, or sometimes they're even adopted out of it. But either way, the trauma of being removed from the home has happened.
Yeah.
So we accept them. Our kids specifically come from Grand Island, York, and all the little towns around it.
Okay.
Kearney does have a camp as well, and it is a great camp. It's run by 2 incredible people.
Yeah.
We just, same ministry, different group, different.
Yeah.
But
it's an international ministry.
It is,
so there's camps all over the United States and the world. There's, I believe, 10 or 11 just in Nebraska alone.
Yeah.
Yes. And we just, it's a great ministry. We just come here because we grew up in Grace.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and wasn't there, and help me out here, wasn't there a movie that was it?
Yes.
Directly,
so
not
there
directly?
is a movie, I believe it's just called Camp.
I think so.
Yeah.
That is based on somebody's experience and based on camp, Royal Family Kids Camp. It's very good. I would recommend seeing it. It's great. It's a good story. There's so many parts of it though that if you've been to our camp specifically, You would not like that movie. You're like, what? You are never alone with kids. We have so many safety and security measures in place. This guy has his phone. We're like, no, you don't have your phone. You don't. But there's just a bunch of stuff that happens that I'm like, the camp is not like this.
Are you saying you can't trust movies that you watch?
You really can't. However, just like many things in life that you're like, oh, that's not as good as it should be, or this could be better. You can get something from it, and you can get kind of a feel for, oh, hey, this is. And
it's good exposure for who our kids are.
Absolutely.
And what they're coming from. Like, I think that was their goal.
Yeah.
But when they had, like, the guy had a cell phone on him, I'm like, what?
I'm just ignoring this kid. I'm like,
like, I would never have a counselor that's like, I'm so annoyed with this kid. At that point, I'd be like, we're getting somebody else in there, buddy. You need a break.
Yeah.
We need to talk.
Yeah.
They're not going to fly. No.
This camp, too, the fact that it's for our specific camp and the Royal Family Kids Camp, there's lots of kids camps out there, but ours is a more intensive experience to where we have a ratio of, if you have like a camp counselor that has usually, 10, 15 kids or whatever, we don't. We have our camp counselors have 2 kids at the most.
Right.
Usually 2, sometimes they're one-on-one, and then we have enough support staff surrounding, doing all the activities and moving with the groups that you can effectively be one-on-one. So they get that one-on-one care and attention that they don't get in their lives.
Yeah.
Your wife.
You're good. No,
I'm so sorry.
It's
I looked down,
totally
saw
fine.
Jesse file.
She knows I'm podcasting. She usually joins me on the podcast.
We miss Jesse. We like her. We like her. Okay, you can edit that out if you want.
Very noticeable. Oh no, we don't do this. Like we just roll. All right.
Good.
So whatever comes out, like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is real. We're live. So I would say though, with those kids that we serve, we have usually around 50. The camp has fluctuated from mid-teens all the way up to almost 90 kids before.
Wow.
But we've found that the best way to support the ones that we have there, like the quality over quantity sometimes, is about 50 roughly. If you get bigger than that, you need to kind of maybe split your camp and do it other weeks. But the kids that we serve are effectively the ones that are talked about in the Bible, that are the orphans, the fatherless, that God says, hey, I'm their defender. I'm strong. And so all of camp is based on that these are kids who have not had the parents to be able to take care of them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That they've gotten to that point in their lives, and that we basically just love them with God's love. You're not trying to shove the Bible down their throats. We share Jesus with them and we tell them about God. But you could be a kid who's, no, I don't want any of that. And we're not. Hey, we're just loving you. Yeah. We're just loving you with God's love. And it is a week of that for kids ages 6 to 11. So we know that there's kids younger than that and older than that, that need that kind of love, that they're in this situation. But that's where we're called to serve, and that's the demographic we serve. And that's basically our mission at camp all week, is to just love them with God's love, help them feel safe, secure. Most of all, it's to feel loved. They get that attention at camp.
So week long, ages 6 to 11. And so largely, a massive volunteer base, right? That's
nobody makes any money with it at all. Sometimes people have joked about it, but it's so funny when a camper is going through a rough time. And we have, because it's understandable, the trauma that these kids come from. We have had, I'm not making light of it, we have had kids sold into sex trafficking before. Heavy stuff that I'm like, no, that's real, that's happened. They were sold by their parents more than once. We've had kids that have been abused, almost killed. Their parents tried to kill them. We had so many things, have witnessed traumatic events, deaths, murders, suicides that they've witnessed, things that adults, it would mess you up, that these kids have gone through. It's just crazy. And so that level of trauma and that level of love that these kids need, you sometimes will have very intense situations with them. You can call it a meltdown or a tantrum or flare up, whatever. We have those things happen. But some of my favorite times when that happens and you're just still loving the kid through that, doesn't matter what you're doing. You can say you hate me, you can yell, you're yelling things at me, they're yelling swear words, they're doing whatever, trying to get a reaction, because they're trying to get you to push away, to tell them, well, you know what, you are being ugly, you're being unlovable, and I'm not going to love you right now. And instead we do the opposite. We do what God does with us, because we're ugly and unlovable, and God loves us no matter what. We love them through that. And one of my favorite things that has happened more than once is the kids like, oh, I'm going to tell my mom, or I'm going to tell, my aunt or grandma, I'm going to tell the social worker, and you're not going to get paid. There's been more than once when that happens, I just start laughing. There was one year, there was me, one of our best friends, Christy, who does camp with us. Christy's an amazing human being. We love her to death. But it was one of the funniest things. We just started laughing. This kid is having a serious moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you're not going to get paid. And we're like, we don't pay. Like, we don't get paid. We pay money to come here and do this.
Wow.
No, but like you get money. No, we have to pay. Like, we have to take time out of our schedule, take our vacation time, whatever it is.
So interesting.
We have to put money into it just to get here. And they're like, well, but here's the thing. That moment of like, that they can't comprehend. Well, no, because we love you and we care about you. They can't argue with that. You can't fight it.
Yeah, what an incredible just demonstration. I mean, right there that they get to experience, you know, even in the midst of maybe a tantrum or meltdown or whatever. But wow, that's so incredibly powerful and funny. That's kind of
even
funny.
In the moment.
So tell me, you know, just tell me some. How long have y'all been involved with Royal Family?
16 years.
16 years?
And 19 years. So I've been involved since 2002, I believe was my first year. And then the first year after we got married, Stephanie started. So
You started 2001.
It started 2001 or 2002. I think it's 2001, but I don't remember. It's a long time ago. And she started the year after we got married. So it wouldn't have been the year after we got married.
2006 was my first year.
2 years after. Yep, because I was in the military for 8.5 years. I was in the Army Reserves, and I got married. And then 6 weeks later, they said, "Hey, over to the desert with you." So I left for the majority of the first year of our marriage. I do not, on a side note, recommend that in your marriage.
And that's very beneficial for the legacy lifestyle, because Jesse and I talk a lot about what make relationships work. So that's a nice little relational nugget.
I'm telling you, that first year, don't go to the other side of the planet if you had to pick. But I did get back just in time for my 1 year anniversary.
Nice.
He did do camp, by the way, the week before we got married. Like, he did.
Wow.
That week before, that Friday, we had like a rehearsal lunch instead of dinner. And he came back, did the rehearsal lunch, then went back to camp. And then on our entire honeymoon, we just got married. We waited to be with each other.
My honeymoon. I've been waiting for this.
We're waiting. And he's like, "Hey, you know what we should do?
You should go back to the hotel right now and take a nap."
And I'm like,
and she's like,
"Ooh,
so a nap, huh?" And I'm like, "No, but like a nap. Let's sleep."
Dude, like, let's go do things. We're married. We can do things. And he's like, "But a nap." And I was like, I don't understand. It was first year that the camp.
It was great though. Yeah, it was great though.
Did not get it at the time. I'm like, something's wrong with you.
So I did that. I think you're maybe right. Maybe it was 2001. But then, so I did take a year off because when I got back from being overseas, I technically was back just in time to where I could have done camp. Mm-hmm. That would have been a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, don't. Yeah. And then I think other than that, and then 2020, which ruined everybody's everything, where we didn't technically do camp. I think other than those 2 years since then, I've done it. So yeah, I believe it'd be 19 years.
So one thing I know, because you've come to our church and you've shared many times, many different stories, you both have been involved long enough to really see campers actually become staff.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, or share maybe a couple of those stories. I just find that really interesting, and I think speaks to the power of this camp.
Oh, you should tell about Clark. You should talk about Clark right here.
I love Clark.
Yeah, tell us about Clark.
Clark, I think he did our camp 6 years.
Okay.
And he...
As a camper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even as like his last few years as a camper, he was so helpful. And he was like the big camper that was like, "Okay, buddy, let's go do the things," calmed kids down. He was just, and he's the oldest of 6 kids.
Okay.
And they had been removed from the home, hence they qualified to come to our camp. So fast forward, and he's 16, and he reaches out to us, and he's like, "I want to come back and serve at camp." Because we do tell them when they finish, you can come back and serve, you have to be 16.
Okay.
You can come at 15 and serve, but you have to have a parent there.
Gotcha.
We generally cannot have that parent at camp. It's not going to work well. So 16. So 16, he contacts us, and we go through the application process, and I was just beyond excited. Yeah. I was like,
she's like, "Oh, Clark."
And the funniest thing is, I remember Clark, and I remember asking Clark, "Do you remember us in the interview?" He's like, "No."
Oh, interesting.
She was just so excited. I'm like, "No," because you remembered his counselor.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
and
what you remembered.
1 or 2 staff, and he didn't even get their names right. And I'm like, that's not the point. Yeah. I remember you, and I'm excited. So he came to camp that first year, and he had said, he was like, I think it was like day 3 or something. He was like, you know, I know you guys loved us, but I had no idea everyone here loves us.
Wow.
Yep.
Like they love us. And
real.
I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, and it's real. And I'm like, did you think it was? And he's like, I don't think I understood as a camper. And then the next year, and this was hard. He was talking to me and he's like, you know, I still don't understand why my family went to camp. And he still has, at this point, 3 younger siblings attending our camp. But he's so amazing. We just kind of kept them separate so the kids still had a good camp experience apart from their older brother. Yeah. And I said, well, buddy, you were removed from your home at one point. He's like, no, we never were. And I was like, I mean, that was before I was on the side of knowing what our kids went through. So I was like, maybe not. But I'm like, I believe you were. And then he was just talking about things he went through as a child.
Wow.
And he was like, wait a second, you're right. There was a time like we were homeless and we got put in a home, and that would have been foster care. I said, yeah. Or there's times during the year that his mom, it's not going well, and they go stay with an aunt for like 4 months or 5 months. And like the look on his face as he's realizing this, and he just started to cry. And he said, I'm a camp kid. And I said, you are, but you have us. We're family and we have you and God can heal you. And it's going to be okay. And he's 17 at this point in time. And it was just that realization, that click. And then he was like, I have to tell my sisters, is what he said. The older ones that are out of camp. And I said, okay, there will come a time. I don't know when that's going to be, but you want to tell him because he's going to go to college, which, by the way, he got a full ride scholarship.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I couldn't be more proud of him.
Wow.
Like I remember him saying to me, I don't know if I can go to college. Nobody in my family's ever been. And I'm like, by gum, you will go to college.
Yeah.
And he is. And he's going to go to college. And I watched him in a speech meet 2 weeks ago, and he's going to state. And just the family that he thinks of when he's like, life is hard and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. He calls me.
Yep.
He calls his old counselor.
Yeah.
He reaches out and he's like, RFKC is a family to me. And I'm like, we are a family.
Yeah.
We will always be here for you. We are the family of God.
Well,
and he talks about God and he has an understanding of God. And I don't know if he has that personal relationship
Sure.
right now,
Sure.
but he will.
Yeah.
Because God is planting seeds.
Yeah.
And where he plants seeds, there will be harvest.
That's right.
But that's the thing too, is he felt like less when he realized that I'm a camp kid. And I'm like, no, man, no, bro. You're more.
Yeah.
You're more because of that. You're so, think of where God has taken you from and where you are now. Like how blessed you are, and the blessing that you are turning around and saying, you know what? I'm going to do this now and I'm going to bless others. He absolutely has. Clark's an excellent one. Another one of our favorites is Aaliyah. Okay. Christy Franz, again, an amazing human, and we love her. One of our best friends. We love Christy. Christy's basically my sister. She just is. I love all 5 of my sisters, but Christy's my sister that I'm like, nope, you're mine now.
Yeah.
And she had, just like most people when they start, they're a counselor, so they're just paired up with 1 or 2 kids. And she had a camper named Aaliyah. Aaliyah, if you're at camp, like many of the kids don't realize, and if you think back to your childhood, you're like, oh yeah, I guess mom and dad did have to provide for us and money was tight at this time and it was stressful, this thing.
Right.
I never would have thought about that money or relationship, things. You don't think about that as a kid.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know, we moved and we did this thing, or I guess for a while this happened. You don't think, hey, this is the reality of what was going on. That's heavy stuff. Mm-hmm. You don't think about that. Aaliyah has had those things happen in her life, just like the other camp kids have. And she had, at least, and I don't know all the details. Oh, okay, I do actually. She's talked about it openly and she's shared with us, but I don't remember all of the specifics. The important parts are, though, that Aaliyah felt the sense of hopelessness that some people can all feel, but to the point to where she decided to end her own life. She decided that it wasn't worth living anymore. And instead of carrying through with that, like saying, all right, I'm going to do this. And she had a plan. Like she was like, nope, I'm going to do this. It wasn't a passing like, oh, I'm going to hurt myself or whatever. That's like, you're not in a mentally healthy state right now. Reach out and get help. No, it was, I'm going to end my life. And so when she got to that point, the thing that stopped her was she stopped and she said to herself, she said, Christy would be so disappointed. I won't get to see Christy at camp, and she'll be so disappointed that I did this and that I don't get to hang out with her at camp. And so instead of killing herself, she waited the rest of the year until camp came around and went to camp.
Wow.
As a child, the fact that she has to deal with that.
Yeah.
When I bring up the hard things that kids have to go through. Any kid who has to get to that point mentally to where you even know that concept or that would be an option for you is insane to me.
Yeah.
The fact that we've had kids that were sold into sex trafficking by their parents, they're going to have to deal with that in life, and they're going to have to deal with those feelings and find their self-worth in Christ, because you're not going to get it from like, my parents loved me, because it's the opposite that happened for them. So when she did that, she still struggles with, just like we all do. We all struggle with life. But Aaliyah is such a beacon of light everywhere she goes. I'm telling you, you'd meet her, you'd be like, this is Aaliyah? Okay, I get it. She is an amazing human. She takes after Christy. And so when she has stuff happen in her life, when she's messing stuff up or people are messing her up or whatever, she knows she can go to Christy, and ultimately Christy knows and can tell her, hey, Jesus is where it's at. That's who you go to. And we'll keep pointing back to that. And so Aaliyah now has served, I don't know how many years.
I think she has served 6 years.
I knew it was at least 5.
I think this is her 7th year.
But yeah, she's served at camp, and she is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You will not see anything so amazing and life-altering to just alter your perspective of, am I making an impact at this camp? Is it important? As seeing somebody who was a former camper, would not be around today if it was not for camp,
Right.
is at camp and is blessing other kids. And it is a unique, even if she didn't have this unique perspective and point of view, she's an awesome human. She's such a light to everywhere she goes. Even without that, though, without the fact that she was a former camper, that is an extra in her tool belt, like that she has. I've seen her pull out a little girl. No, I don't know. You don't understand. Like, no, I do understand. I've been where you were. No, I mean, like, I'm a camper. Yeah, I was a camper. No, you're a counselor at this camp. No, I was a camper at this camp. I was where you're at. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Wow.
I can't say that. Stephanie can't say that. Bunch of people can't. It's really unique.
Well, it's such a level of empathy. I think that, just as human beings, I mean, we all know, like I can read about a situation and I can know, but it's one thing if you've walked that road.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
That there's something powerful about that. And so, I mean, man, I think it's amazing. Just, whatever pioneers started this work, that now you sow those seeds, they come back. And now, the ones who were on the receiving end of that are now sowing their own seeds and stuff. And that's just incredible to me. And I know so many kids, I hear like this is the highlight of the year because of the circumstances that they face. Like they start looking forward to camp. They look forward to all that. And I know you guys have the birthday party thing, right? Explain that. Maybe a lot of our listeners, viewers might not know what you guys have birthday parties at camp, right?
Every year.
Every year, right? And why?
Because so many of our kids have never had a birthday party. They've never had a birthday. They've never had like a cake just for them, or maybe not had gifts. They have never, some of them don't even know when their actual birthday is. Or sometimes they're moving from home to home to home to the point where it just slips through the cracks.
Yeah.
And that is an easy thing to happen. And so we have a birthday party night. So one night where it's everybody's birthday. We have a church that's amazing out of Deschler, and they sponsor it. And they come in and they throw a birthday party. And there's all these different activities. It's slightly organized chaos.
It's like a little carnival. It's amazing.
It is so much fun. And then at the end of the night, they all get these birthday boxes.
Oh,
and they're
my
all
goodness.
they're similar boxes, which is good. You have to keep them similar.
Right.
But they are so age appropriate for the kids, and the kids open them up. And I cannot tell you how many times kids have said, do I get to keep everything in this box? Like it's mine.
It's all for them.
Like I get to keep it.
Yeah.
And we actually give them lots of things during the week of camp. And that is the response with almost all of it.
Yeah.
And it's quality presents, by the way.
Yes.
It's cool stuff that counselors are watching going, I want that. Whoa.
Right?
Whoa. And they got, man,
I
I'm going to
remember
go get one of
the
these.
year the little boys got joke books.
Oh, boy.
And they were like dad jokes.
Oh boy.
They were so good.
I see. I would love that.
And they walked around the next day and they were like, hey, Director Steff, and these terrible jokes. And I was like, Mark
Terribly
makes those
amazing.
Jokes, and I do not laugh. I think they're horrible, and I will not laugh at those jokes. But when our little boys are doing them, I'm like,
Right. It's for the kids.
They're just so cute and they're so excited. And I'm just like, and then I got one email after camp for a parent, and she's like, I hate that book. And I said they were in the birthday box. She's like, I know.
Yeah.
He has the jokes memorized. I already made the book disappear, but the jokes are in his head. And I was like, wow.
That's right.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Good
Right there.
jokes. Just keep on giving your whole life. And then when that little boy's a dad, he can keep it on through the ages. Oh.
Absolutely.
Legacy.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yep.
That's what I love a good cringeworthy joke. Absolutely.
So good.
So, hey, we just got a few more minutes left here, but maybe just or a little personal touch here. You know, what does this mean to you? What does this, as you think about maybe your own legacy? Have you thought about that as it relates to camp? You know, what does that look like for you?
You go first.
Me? My legacy?
You're prettier than me, so you go first.
I did take a shower. It's that extra little something.
That's it's the little things, right?
Every time. My legacy with camp. I don't know. I don't think I've thought too much about a legacy with camp. I feel like I just want to make sure it keeps happening. So whenever God calls me to do something else and I'm not doing this anymore, I know he will have somebody else in this position to make it just even better than it has been with us. And I suppose that, I don't know. I've never thought of my own legacy. I just want the legacy of these kids having a week of safety, these kids having a week of healing. I want that to continue forever.
Yeah.
Because I was never in the foster care system, but I did have a hard upbringing. I had hard things happen, similar to what a lot of our kids experience. I just was never actually removed from the home.
Sure.
Probably should have been, but I wasn't. The 80s were hard. So, one of the reasons why I do this year after year after year is because God's called me to. Another reason is because I see myself in these kids. I see my sisters. I see my brother, and I think, oh, how different would my sister be if she would have had 1 week, even 1 year of people believing in her and pouring into her and loving her and giving her that safe place. She wouldn't have had to go through all that hard junk. I feel like this would have been keys that she would have needed. She would have flourished. It would have been amazing. I do it for her. I do it for my campers. I do it for me. I do it because it needs to be done. And there are kids out there that need this.
Yeah.
And I will continue to do it until the Lord tells me to do something else. So a legacy, I suppose it is its own legacy.
Yeah.
And I just get to be a part of it. And I'm so happy to be a part of it.
So good.
I don't have to start anything. I don't have to be special. I'm just happy to be, a name in the book.
That's good.
Side note, 2 of her 3 sisters do serve at camp.
They
The one
do.
she's referring to, and then also her mother.
My mother does.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
That's awesome.
She's absolutely amazing. She's Grandma Lindy. She does the Bible teaching. She knows the Bible so well.
Yes, she does.
She's so good at it.
She is. She's great. And I love that, a different just vacation Bible school thing that we kind of do here at Grace, Super Kids Camp and stuff. And she rocks that classroom here. She does.
Oh, yeah,
She does a great job.
She's spectacular. She's a teacher through and through.
Mark, what about you?
We don't have children of our own.
We have 2 dogs, and they're like children, but you can put them in a kennel.
Yeah, they're
you
not.
Put your child in a kennel, they come to my camp.
Right.
You can go ahead and you can go ahead and argue the theology of it, but dogs don't have a soul, and you can put them in a cage, and it's not cruel most of the time. You're fine. Yeah. So they're different.
Yeah.
So when people are like, oh well, my dogs are my kids. Oh, you can say that, but kids are different. So, and we appreciate that. That's coming from 2 people who are dogs. We'll fight you.
Yeah.
Like we will.
Yeah.
Those are our babies. That's fine. But we don't have kids of our own. Side note, don't ever ask people like, oh, why not? Oh, it's Nunya actually. But if you ever ask people, I would, we openly tell people when they ask, because I don't say none of your business, because they're just curious and they don't know any better to not ask that. That's okay. But it could be something painful. It could be, oh, we've tried, or we've had miscarriages,
right.
or there's all sorts of painful things that you could be bringing up for those people that they didn't choose. We have elected not to have children because we are much more, useful as directors of camp. She's technically the director. But we serve at camp, and we can serve these kids, and it takes, what were we saying? I don't know.
Right now,
dozens or
during
hundreds
March,
of hours during the year.
During March, it's about 20 hours a week.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
During February, it's probably like 12 hours a week. April, it's going to taper back to 12, and then May, it goes up to like 25.
Okay.
Like it just gets to be more and more each week. There's just more stuff to do.
It's
And I'm
dozens,
happy
if
to
not
do
hundreds.
Yeah.
If not hundreds of hours every year outside of camp
It takes
itself.
time.
And just the focus and just being able to be there for staff, for the kids, to line everything up. We would not be being very effective parents. The lady who we took over camp from had 2 kids of her own. Sandy Croker, she had Jeff and Jesse, and she was a great mom. And she was an amazing camp director. She created a legacy through this camp. Sandy Croker is the reason why our camp is what it is and why it's so awesome. She's the reason we pale in comparison. We just do our best to try and carry on where she left off. We've continued, but we didn't feel, I don't know, she's better than us. she's the Energizer Bunny. That's her nickname. Everybody calls her that. And so we say, well, I don't think we can serve as well doing that. And we've thought about it. We were like, okay, maybe we'll have kids. And then we're like,
well, and I've never felt like super called to have a
we
kid.
must
like
have
there
children.
are people, I know so many women that are like, I'm going to have kids. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
You
they
should
know.
do that. And my friends who want to get pregnant, have babies, I'm like, oh, that's so
Yeah.
great for you.
Yeah.
I just have it's never been me.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed it most of my life that I would do it. But then when it didn't happen, I was like, this is actually okay. I'm okay with this.
just being real too. You
totally
know,
fine.
you can look kind of not down on. You shouldn't. You should always look at people as being better than yourself. Philippians 2. You should look at people that way. However, we honestly, genuinely, and we've talked about it before, we look at people who've chosen to parent or who maybe can't do camp. And they're like, well, because we're raising our kid or we're having a baby, whatever. We tell them, and we honestly believe this. We're like, you're better than us. We honestly, no, I'm serious. You are taking on this amazing, not just, this calling, this opportunity, this privilege of bringing another human being into the world, showing them God's love and raising them. That is huge. It's such a massive undertaking that we look at them and say, keep on keeping on. You keep doing that. That's great. We look up to you. You're an inspiration for us. We will keep doing what we're going to be doing here because we look at things like your Super Kids Camp and other VBS type things where people say, oh, well, I'm just doing this. I'm just serving here. I said, that's great. That's keeping those kids healthy, safe, spiritually growing. That's the good things that you want kids to have.
Right.
Whereas ours is picking up the pieces, honestly.
Yeah.
That one is preventative maintenance. It's it's making it better and good. And it's just as, if not more important. And ours is picking up those pieces and saying, nope, we're going to forge something out of this. So my legacy is never going to be with kids of my own. And I'm fine with that. I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters.
I'll figure it out. It's fine.
She has 4 brothers and sisters. Well, I've got plenty of nephews and nieces. It's okay. But these kids, they are our legacy. I don't view it as
Absolutely.
As what she said too. Actually, is a good way of looking at it. I don't view it as it's our legacy, Mark and Stephanie. No, I view it as camp's legacy.
Yeah.
Just like Sandy, I don't think views it as, well, that's all me that I did that. She views it as, this is the thing God told me to do, where He put me, and this is what we're going to do. It's going to move forward and multiply and bless people. And we have 7 former campers coming as staff this year. Like, we've never had so many ever at camp.
So good.
So,
And our staff also, like, I think they take on their own legacy.
Yes.
I cannot count how many staff people have come as like high schoolers or just maybe freshmen in college, and then they change their major and they're like, I'm going to be a social worker.
Wow.
I think Nikki was that way.
Georgina,
She came in high school and she was like, this is amazing. It's going to change my life. And now she runs the kids program here.
Yeah.
I mean, and Nikki's completely amazing. I adore
she's
her
ridiculously cool
to no end. I love her so much,
Yeah.
and I'm sad she won't be at camp this year. But hey, Nikki, you can come back next year. We'll be
That's
here.
right. That's
We'll
right.
have, we'll have you back in a year,
But
actually.
so many staff have become like therapists or social workers, or their life has changed because they came and served for 1 week, some of them multiple years.
Yeah.
But because their eyes were open to see what it is.
Yeah.
And that's a legacy too.
Yeah.
Because they let it affect them.
Yes.
Yeah, because you opened up.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's nothing we did. We're not amazing.
Ooh.
It's more just God. It's just God.
Yeah.
God's working.
Well, I think you guys are hitting on this thing where sometimes we can make legacy all about us and how special and name this thing after me and all that kind of stuff, and really my heart, and even for this podcast, is really to take stories like your guys's and to let this be a source of inspiration for somebody. Sure. Whether that means they are like, man, I want to go work this camp, or it provokes something in them where they're like, I would coach a little league team, or I would the
help
point
with youth group,
or help with youth group, or whatever it is, or go see what they need at the school. They need a hall monitor or whatever. Just the idea is this. to me, legacy will come about as we steward the opportunities that God gives us.
Absolutely.
You know, like it's like the parable of the talents, right? You know, I really believe God has given everybody something to steward. And what I hear from the two of you is like, okay, maybe it's not biological kids, but you are stewarding still children that are in front of you. And I think that there will be legacy that comes out of that because you're being faithful to the thing that God has put in front of you. So that's really amazing. How about this? Just to close it off here, if someone wants to be involved with Royal Family, how would one go about that? What are you looking for? Is it volunteers? Is there a place where people can donate? You know, if they're listening to this, is there a place that they can, you know, where would be a great place for them to go? Is there somewhere on the interwide webs?
Wow.
I don't know.
We're working on it.
Our website's under construction right now, but I got a demo of it. It looks pretty good, actually.
You can give through Carney Grace,
Yes,
and
that's
just
what I was
earmark
gonna
it
say.
for RFKC or Royal Family Kids. They pass us, they do that all year long. They're like, hey, somebody gave us another check for whatever. That is an easy way to do it.
Yep.
But then if you want to be involved, it doesn't matter where you are listening to this podcast. It is an international ministry. Go
Right.
get involved with Royal Family Kids. You can look it up online. I think the overarching, like the umbrella organization is called For the Children now. But if you look up For the Children or Royal Family Kids Camps or anything like that, just Google that, DuckDuckGo it, put it in your search bar, and you will come up with the right stuff. And you can say, hey, where are the camp locations? Hey, who are the directors? What's the contact info? And you can go and get involved in a camp. Because it's not just ours. Like I said, there's 10, 11 in Nebraska alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nebraska's really good, but taking care of the kids in the foster care system. Like one of the best states.
Awesome.
We do have, if you want to, we just tell people if you want to ask anything or, you know, you say, hey, I might want to serve a camp, or what about this? What about that? Any questions, anything, you can send us an email. It's just Royal Family Kids Camp 2.
Yep,
Like the
Gmail.
number 2. So it's all spelled out, Royal Family Kids Camp 2 @gmail.com.
Yep, you can email me question or whatever. Happy to
Wonderful.
respond to whatever.
Yep, we've had all sorts of people do things through there.
And if
Wonderful.
you're thinking in your head, these kids are really little and I don't want to do that, I'm better with teenagers. There is a teen version of RFKC
Track.
called Track. And it's so when they graduate from our camp, they actually go on to that.
Teen Reach Adventure Challenge. It's so cool.
And it's
It might be
designed
called
for
something else, but it used to be
these
called that.
kids.
Yep.
These kids, and they can get 2 more years out of it, and it's great.
Yep.
So
So
if
wonderful.
you're more interested in that side of it, there's still a place for you
Yeah.
to serve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And here's the deal. I've seen this happen so much where people say, oh, I don't know if I could ever do that. I don't know. And it just seems like so often though, if you make that plunge, if you take those steps, it's very rewarding.
Let me tell you how I got involved, though.
Hee.
Mark had done 3 years. He loved it. I think I'd helped him make like props or something like
I
that.
was accidentally, by the way, I was just talking to it, and me and my brother Aaron
We were
were like,
told by your mom, I think.
no, we were just Gus
Cruz?
and Terry Cruz.
Okay. Yeah.
Were doing kids church
Yeah.
stuff, and they're like, oh, hey, you should come and do this camp. We said, okay, whatever. We went and did some training, and we went to the camp, and then
Rest is history.
I was like, okay,
And
I'm
he loved that first year. He was like, Steph, we were
Yeah.
best friends. I don't think we were dating. You have no idea. And I was like, yeah, I don't do kids. So
me neither.
think so.
I said me neither.
and then
And now you're a director.
well, I went that first. So he'd been asking me for years and asked me. Like I said, he did it the week before our wedding, and I was a little like, but okay, whatever. I can take care of it. I'm
Yeah.
fine. He had been asking me for years. He's like, you gotta come. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna come, and it's gonna be 1 year.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it.
And that's
I'm
all
not
I
gonna like
needed.
it. And you're never gonna ask me again. Do you understand? He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'll never ask you again. And I went, and God changed my heart.
Yeah.
Like God was like, it was unlike anything. These aren't normal kids.
Yeah.
These kids are not entitled. These kids are so easy to love. They're so easy.
even
to love.
at their worst, quote unquote.
Yeah.
They're really
So easy to love. So it's just it was like I never saw this coming. If you would have told 23-year-old Stephanie
Yeah.
that this is what she's going to do, 23-year-old Stephanie would laugh so hard in your face.
Yeah. It's amazing.
God's amazing.
Yeah.
It's only God that
He knows
can
what he's
do
doing.
this.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on
Thanks
the
for
on the
having us.
podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and would love to follow up again. You know, whenever that might be and stuff. But I think what you two are doing is so connects with the heart of what we want to do at Legacy Lifestyle. So
It's awesome.
Keep it up. And again, look those things up if you want to be involved or if you want to give anything like that. And until then, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.